attraction is spontaneous. It's not scheduled. How many of you guys that are married, you guys do nothing all day to seduce your wife? Everything is very just matter of fact, standard, typical day. You go to work, you come home, she makes dinner, she asks you about your day, you tell her about your day. Maybe you watch some television shows together, and then you go to bed, and then you expect sex, right? Like clockwork. It's like clockwork like that. Well, that kind of scheduled, hey, we do this every night at 10, or even worse, where you don't have sex every night. And she's like, okay, look, we need to be more intimate again. So like, let's do Thursday night as sex night, right? So you have scheduled sex once a week. That's boring as hell. It's not attractive. She's not into it. It's totally an obligation at that point. A lot of guys are happy like that. They're like, oh no, at least I'm getting it, right? You got to understand that you're on borrowed time. If that's where you're at, you're on borrowed time. Instead of like scheduled date nights or scheduled sexy nights, surprise her with an activity that you picked, you planned, and then you enjoy, and make it fun. Make it a fun experience. A great example of this is last Friday was Nurse Chick's birthday. And I originally asked her if there's anything specific that she wanted for her birthday. And she originally sent me a link for like a stand-up comic that's coming to town, and he's going to be here this Thursday. But it's not really a great night because Thursday night's like a school night. She's got to go back. She gets her kids back on Thursday, and it's just then she's got to get a sitter and whatever, all that kind of stuff. Well, she doesn't really have to get a sitter. Her two older kids are old enough, but still, it's not a convenient night, and it's not on her birthday. And I was like, that's not going to work. So I was like, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Right. I looked to see what was available in town on Friday night on her birthday. And really the only thing that came up was the circus. The circus came to town, and I go, oh, okay, let me take a look at their website. Let me see what they got going on and stuff. And I saw that it was a fairly legit circus. They had some serious big acts there. And I was like, okay, that's what we're doing. I'm going to take Nurse Chick for her birthday to the fucking circus. And I was like going into it, it's either going to be a good show and it's going to be fun, or it's going to be a terrible show and I'm going to make it fun, but that was my mindset going into it. And so do that kind of thing, right? Keep her guessing, and then make those plans, and then say, hey, we're going out Friday night, and don't tell her what you're doing. I didn't tell her we were going to the circus. I just brought her to the circus, and she had a lot of fun with it, So instead of doing scheduled date nights, keep her guessing. Okay. Like having date nights is a good idea. It's good to date your wife and keep that attraction going, but you can't let it become a routine. Like any kind of routine kills attraction over time. Okay. Don't wait until it's bedtime for sex, right? Initiate without any kind of expectation. Make it playful, right? If the kids are out of the house, do it in the middle of the day on the coffee table, right? Like just be spontaneous with it. Always be seducing. I talk about it in my first book, ABS. Always be seducing. Always be walking up, kissing her on the back of the neck, putting your arm around her, breaking that touch barrier a little bit at a time throughout the day, pulling back, going in, doing it a little bit, an hour later, 2 hours later. Always keep that sexual escalation going, and then periodically bang her on the coffee table, right? I like to take Nurse Chick on road trips, and we'll periodically pull off on the side of the road somewhere in the middle of nowhere and just do it out in the desert in the back of the car. Like that spontaneity keeps things fresh and exciting. And women actually really get a kick out of that kind of stuff. Okay. But if you're boring and you only do it in your bedroom, she's not going to want to do it. Right. Flirt throughout the day, right? Text something suggestive, whisper in her ear in public. This doesn't sound like a very Christian thing to do. I'll tell you what, my one of the guys in beer club, he's completely turned his marriage around, and he was in a dead bedroom situation for a lot of years. And he was able to turn things around in his marriage by doing all the stuff that I talk about. And on top of that, his wife will send him dirty text messages now, and he's like shocked by it, right? And so he's like, what have you done with my wife, right? He'll say that to her, and I'm like, don't do that, dude. Like, encourage that. don't make her feel judged for it, right? But he's like, I'm just so shocked, right? I'm just so shocked she's doing it. Not that he doesn't like it, but he's just like, what the hell? And I'm like, no, don't do that. Make her feel good for it. Like, reward that good behavior. Okay. It's operant conditioning. You want to get her to feel comfortable with her own sexuality. That's how you're going to get her to snap out of this prude behavior and start enjoying sex. Right. All right. Yeah. You want to help her feel safe to explore her sexuality, right? Many Christian women, they're really fearing that judgment for enjoying sex. You have to let her know it's okay. It's totally okay, hon. Right? It's totally okay. In fact, like, God wants you to enjoy sex, right? And you can even like lead conversations with this. There's an effective communication model that I learned from Paul Benjamin with Apex Mindset. I talk about it in Get Her to Fuck You Again. It's called the Luca model, right? Where you listen, you understand. If you don't understand, you ask clarifying questions, and then you come up with an action. Sometimes the action is to just listen to her, okay? But you want to get a conversation going about what would make sex exciting for her, right? What's something you've always wanted to try but never felt comfortable talking about? That's something, right? And make her feel safe and not judged. And like, I'm not telling anybody, this is our little secret, but get her to talk about this stuff. And, if you're down with some of that stuff, like, do the stuff, right? Do some of these dirty things with her. If you've ever read Nancy Friday's book, it's a filthy, dirty book. I couldn't finish it because it was that bad. But basically, you get the gist through like halfway through it. But women have these incredibly dirty sexual fantasies, and they are so afraid of being judged that they won't ever talk about it. And when Nancy Friday, who's the one that wrote this book, is called My Secret Garden, when she first was coming up with the concept, she was talking to married women around their husbands, right? And she was like, "Hey, I'm going to write a book, and I'm going to have women talk about their sexual fantasies." And these husbands are like, "Why do women need to have sexual fantasies? Like, honey, you don't have sexual fantasies, do you?" And of course, the wife's like, no, honey, of course not. That's preposterous, right?" Because they're feeling judged by their husbands. But so what Nancy was like, realized is in order to get the truth out of women, to get women to feel comfortable opening up, I have to make it anonymous. So she allowed all these women to express themselves sexually without judgment and to be anonymous. And so some of these women's sexual fantasies are fucking disgusting. You know what I mean? Like, they are bad, right? But if she expresses some of these sexual fantasies and they're not even that bad, like, encourage it and let her know she's okay and she's normal and it's healthy. It's a healthy sexual expression. And especially in marriage, like, if you're married and you're Christian, like, it's okay to do these things, right? So make her feel safe and secure about it. And here's the hard truth, though, right? Here's the hard truth. You can't change other people. You can only change yourself and how you show up. And you can do everything right. You can go to the gym. You can start looking better. You can start being more attractive. You can start getting to a place where all the other chicks in church want to bang your brains out, and your wife still doesn't, right? She still refuses to see sex as something good. You gotta start asking yourself, like, is this life that I'm living, is it worth being miserable for the rest of my life?
New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Subscribe now.